River Radio is here! Spread the word.
Good morning. You're listening to River Radio. This is the Miss Singh Question. We are into the news hour here. You can hear us on the web, on mobile, on Alexa. Head over to the website river.radio where you can listen again and also find the podcast. We've had a stunning first hour with Cloud9 Flotation Therapy Centre's Alex Harmon, directs it with Tom Parker. And here we are in the second hour with the smiling psychologist.
Hi, that was a really nice, relaxing song, wasn't it?
It was. It's called Floating, it was great fun, wasn't it? So, yeah. Suzanne Guest. Now, we were talking about ways of relaxing, and we had a whole hour on it. But you've got and actually. Alex Harmon of Cloud9 did talk about looking ahead to 2022. We are looking ahead, and although we may or may not make resolutions, but tell me please your thoughts on resolutions and the thoughts that may come to us at the turn of the year.
I'm going to be honest, I'm not a massive fan of New Year's resolutions.
Why?
If you want to change, you can do it any time. But I also think it's understandable that at a time that we've had some time off work and we've had a bit of time to chill out and relax, that maybe we want to reflect on our lives and make some changes as a result of that. My big thing really is that so many people set New Year's resolutions to punish themselves around, I've got to lose weight, I've got to eat this, I've got to do that. And I think we can make compassionate New Year's resolutions, and we're probably more likely to stick to them if we're making something that's maybe a little bit more meaningful to us rather than something that's a really harsh punishment, I've got to lose weight type of resolution that I think a lot of people just feel obliged to make. So what are your thoughts, Rani?
You know, Suzanne, I'm terrible at sticking to things, and my way of really working is that I have a guide. I do buddy stuff. So if for going into the gym, I need a class, I need a tutor. For working on on areas of my body that I want to work on, I have an instructor, and I spend a lot of resources, time, etc. on that. I have my own sort of little coaching team. That's buddies, and I have Rob Willen who comes running with me, and Graham Hutchings to help me improve my style, and Rob is very good about improving my form. And I do park run like you do, Suzanne, occasionally.
Yes, it's not fitting with my plans at the moment, park run. But what I'm hearing is actually really positive from you, because what you're doing is you're actually putting plans in place to follow your resolutions or your goals through. So you're not just saying, oh, I want to get fitter. You're saying, I'm running, I'm working on my form when I'm running, I'm finding a coach to help me do exercise better. And I think I'm with you on the exercise classes, because I think it's very easy to sort of think, oh, I'll go to the gym in a bit, I'll go to the gym in a bit, I'll go to the gym in a bit. Whereas if you know that class starts at 4:00, you've got to be there. And so you're more likely to follow it through. So I think what's often missing with our New Year's resolutions is the plan on how we're going to follow that through. And one of the other things is around why it's meaningful to you. So losing weight is often one of those things that's thrown about. And maybe getting into a smaller skirt is a little bit appealing. But there's often a lot more meaningful benefits around that. So, for example, it could be that you want to improve your blood pressure, or you want to be able to walk faster or be more active. And so focusing on the health benefits of things rather than it purely being about your weight is often more of a motivator than it being quite a superficial type of goal. And my big thing is, if you are wanting to exercise, is to just find a way of moving your body that you enjoy. So you're enjoying parkrun at the moment, aren't you? It's communal, it's supportive, and I think that's better than sort of having this perfect routine that you can't stick to because it bores you. So I think, getting community involved is always going to be positive.
Suzanne, the thing is that alone in my house, I don't have community around me. Mm-hmm. And lots of people don't. This is the UK, which is a very kind of nuclear family focused culture. It's not like South Asia. It's not like Africa, where we can have whole families around us. And it's, if you don't get along with one cousin, you get along with another cousin. You're always in and out of each other's houses. And there's so much hospitality everywhere. It's a completely different feeling to that you might find in blue zones around the world, where there is this huge amount of socialization. And for instance, Suzanne, to be very frank, in my own house, I've got so many things on the go, so many projects. I'm disorganized there, because unless I have a colleague helping me, or saying, okay, this is now 2 hours of work time, or this is 2 hours of admin time, I fall apart, and I'm in a complete mess. And I don't do things like regular daily planning or regular daily visualization. Smiling Psychologist, please, can you find me a cure?
Well, I don't necessarily know if there's a cure, but I think there's looking at finding strategies that might help.
Tell me.
A lot of business people will say that your day is not ended until you've planned the next day. So you've got an idea, and it might be that you're just spending 10 minutes or 5 minutes at the end of your working day planning out what you're going to do. Another thing, there's a technique. Have you heard of the Pomodoro technique?
No.
It's Spanish for, is it tomato, I think. And it was developed by somebody who had got a kitchen timer that was a tomato. That's where it's come from. And the idea is that you work for a certain amount of time and then you take a break. So 2 hours is a long time to focus. So it could be that you work for, say, 20 minutes, you take a 5-minute break, and then you go back to your 20-minute work. And I do that when I'm really struggling to focus, is think, right, okay, I'm just going to, because I can manage 20 minutes and then I'll go and make myself a drink and come back to it. So there's chunking your work into smaller sections so that it's not feeling as overwhelming for you. And
thanks for that. That really helps, because I'm going for a planning lunch after this, and I think and I was going to do a sort of a brain dump and write down my projects after this, but chunking them is a really good idea. I've got an app called Be Focused, and that I've set it to 30 minutes. And when I do something for 30 minutes, that's so I'll report back to you on that, Smiling Psychologist.
Yeah. I love a brain dump as well. I think a brain dump is a brilliant idea.
Explain for listeners.
What I do is I like A3 pieces of paper. Can't explain why, I just do. But what I do is put everything that I feel like I need to do on that piece of paper. What I find I do when I'm really stressed is that I start adding unnecessary jobs into it. So I suddenly decide that my car needs cleaning and things like that. And my car's always a mess. So another day of not having my car cleaned is not going to make things worse. So what I do is I maybe spend 5-10 minutes dumping everything onto that piece of paper, and then I start prioritizing of what actually needs doing today, what can wait, what actually is completely unnecessary and is just me being anxious and deciding that I'm stressing myself out. And then I put things, either if it's something that maybe could be done tomorrow or the day after, I put those in my calendar, and so I've sort of made an appointment to do those. And then I make a plan of the things that need doing today, and I sort those things out on that day. That really works for me.
Great. Well, thanks for all of that, Suzanne. Is there anything else you want to tell us before we bring on Darnell Christie?
I think the main thing is to be compassionate with yourself. So you can set really nice goals as well. So things like working on improving your sleep, or working on taking breaks. So as we've discussed this morning, the importance of rest and relaxation. So it doesn't all necessarily have to be about punishing yourself. You can work on being nice to yourself in the new year.
How are you going to be nice to yourself in the new year?
Oh, you put me on the spot there, Ronnie. I didn't think you expect me to practice what I preach.
Yes, I do, girl. I think one thing you've told me is that, you know, you are a co-host normally. One thing you've told me is that when you guest on the show, it just forces you, because you've got a lot on at the moment, it forces you to think about your work and yourself and your profession, because you're a registered occupational psychologist, and doing the Miss Singh Question on River Radio brings you back to that place, whatever else is going on in your life, however big it is.
Yeah, I think I am working on, one of the things I am trying to do, and I'm not brilliant at it yet, is not having my phone with me as much. So if I'm watching a program, excellent, I've started to put my phone away from me and put it in the charger. So I'm actually watching the program and not watching the program and flicking through social media and missing things and kind of not enjoying either. So that's one of the things that I feel like I need to get a little bit better from, is sort of not being as attached to my phone.
Thank you very much, Suzanne Guest.
Thank you.
Have you given our listeners as much of the benefit of your advice as you feel we can take?
I think that's enough. I think Darnell's probably got far more interesting things to talk about with the news.
He has got interesting things to talk about, but you have your own place as part of the River Radio Miss Singh Question family. Suzanne Guest, smiling psychologist, thank you very much. We look forward to next time you're on.